The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello everyone, welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, the big issue of today is the jailbreak and its societal menace. And of course, as usual, our in-house analysts are all here. Silas Ezebu and Tunde Ogunjola. And of course, I'm your regular host, George Abba. Together, we're going to be taking you on the big issue of the day. And of course, without wasting your time, the big issue is the recent jailbreak in Kabba, Kogi State, where 240 inmates were said to have escaped from the Medium Security Custodial Centre. The attackers who arrived in the custodial center in their numbers heavily armed and immediately engaged the guards in the fierce battle. The Kabba Correctional Center was established in 2008 with a capacity of 200 inmates. As of the time of the invasion, 294 inmates were in custody, out of which 284 were pre-trial detainees and 70 convicted inmates. And of course, the latest jailbreak came a few months after gunmen attacked the Nigerian Correctional Service and the police headquarters in Imo State, freeing about 1,844 inmates, after which the hoodlums set the facilities ablaze. The gunmen also raised the Imo State Police Command headquarters and burned almost all the vehicles parked at the command headquarters. And of course, no fewer than 50 cars were set ablaze in the said attack. And in a similar manner, there was also an attack at the correctional center in Ubiaja, Edo State. However, the jailbreak was foiled by officers at the facility. The inmates, after breaking out from their cells, engaged the correctional security personnel. And it took a combined effort by officers from the Nigerian Army, 4th Brigade, and the Edo Command of the Police to foil the attack. And of course, Silas, you see, within periods of just short periods of months, we've seen some kind of jailbreaks in the country. What do you think is the reason why Nigerian prisons have become prone to jailbreak by bandits and other outlaws in recent times?
Well, it's a very worrying situation, and it has a lot of implications. I think generally the accounts in Nigeria's security architecture and people who are incarceration, I feel that they can do it and get away with it. It's either that people can do bad things and get away with it. It's giving people the hope and courage to break out and remain alive. And if they know that the security agencies can easily pick them up again and they not survive their consequences, that will not discourage them. But if you look at from the statistics read out, about 8% of those who are there are pre-trial inmates, are waiting inmates. So those cases have not been dispatched in the courts. Some of them may be innocent, some of them with all innocent of the truth proven guilty. Some of them are hardened criminals who due to our criminal justice system, there are cases that still being delayed one way or the other. So I think that that's already again now, socially in Nigeria, you find out that crime is paying. People are making money through crime, banditry, kidnapping, all sorts. So a few of them who are there feel that they can come out and continue their legal ways of surviving, coming out of making money by putting pressure on the system. So I think that's generally why somebody is of serving his time or trying to work the system to finish up. Some of them also may feel that what they have committed send them to jail for life, but to the death penalty. So somebody who had that kind of you know, gravity of defense feel that if you can break away, get out of prison, it still has great chances that's whether you can make it or not. But especially while it is even more challenging, more challenging now that there are organized people going to these prisons to attack it. And what you find out is that these organized criminal groups have their men in there. They want to free them so they can join them in putting pressure on the justice challenges. So that's where I'm worried. The people will be broken out of prisons by those who are their members. What they want to do, they want to go out there and see, want to go back to their criminal enclave and continue causing trouble to Nigeria. So I think that it's an issue that the security agencies look at. Because there's no point. There's no point in capturing criminal, armed robber, or bandit, or kidnapper, or investment people, or all kinds of people, and then put them in the place only for them to be. Some of them will be broken out from prison. Some of these people, before they could bring them there, security agencies, police, army, and are lost alive, trying to apprehend them, and all of a sudden they just go attack the place. So we need to do something to make sure that these places are not easily reached the way they are being done.
Yes, and we talk to that. When you talk of reach, most Nigerians are becoming suspicious because these prisons are said to be well fortified. The walls are strong. And of course, the bars and the irons that forms the gates are supposed to be very strong. Especially like the Kogi one, it was discovered that the criminals, the unknown gunmen, or the bandits that attacked the place, they didn't use improvised device or something explosive. They didn't use it in breaking IEDs. Yes, IEDs. They did not. So most Nigerians, based on that, are suspecting they are suspecting what connivance between criminals and some of these prison officials. What do you think?
Well, thank you very much, Josh, for that question. One thing you must know is that the concept of the phenomenon of prison break is not new in Nigeria. It started in 1861 during the colonial era in Lagos State. But what we should look at now is the sequence of prison break, which has happened in the past
The frequency.
decades. Yes, it's now occurred more. However, according to the dictates of Nigerian constitution, it is illegal and also unlawful for a prison to be broken. It is illegal for jailbreak to happen in any form. You understand? Because this is simply because the phenomenon of jailbreak is now becoming day-to-day something you see it on the news daily. And this has negatively impacted the society. You understand? It's also affecting our national development as a nation, owing to the fact that these prisoners, once they leave the prison, they go back to society. And once they go back to society, they tend to be misplaced. Sorry to say, we call it correctional center. But in all honesty, are they correctional center? Are these houses habitable for them? Of course, no, because I have visited some of these prisons. When you visit this prison, you tend to see the prisoners even begging you for funds. Bros, give me 15 naira, give me 20 naira. You see all these activities going on in the prison, you see them begging for food, eating beans with stones, sharing food that up to one person should eat. You see it, 5, 10 people eating, trying to take a piece of that food. And you're expecting them to live in peace. You're expecting them to continue to live there. No, of course. They want to escape. What do they do daily? They don't go to work. All they sit down to do is to think of how to escape or perhaps serve their jail term and go out. They call it, the prisoners call it inside ward. And I can tell you that inside the place called the inside ward, Gary is gold. That's cassava flakes. It's gold there. You can see different shoddy acts just because to get a cup of Gary. I would not like to mention some, but when I say shoddy acts, I mean it in all honesty. How a senior prisoner, a detainee, will use a new or use his physical strength to tell this prisoner to do something ordinarily he should not do, just because to get a cup of Gary to drink. And of course, why the question now comes, why is all this happening? There's proliferation of light arms and weapons everywhere. I can tell you that the gun in the hands of criminals, maybe perhaps it's higher than that of the military. You see it everywhere. Boys use it anywhere. The vigilante groups use guns anywhere. Gun is not longer sacred. People tend to have it. In fact, some say they can even hire it. Once you need, they can go out to hire it to use for any act they wish. So I think there is a need for total reform of this correctional service to get it right. If we did not do this, we will continue experiencing these jailbreaks. Well, I think I would like to stop there.
Well, what you're trying to say, Tunde, is that the correctional center themselves are not really correctional in nature.
They are not.
A place where people
They are not
supposed to be rehabilitated.
The prisoners hate to be there because it's not habitable. The beds are not okay. The food they eat are not nice. The environment is dirty. Yes, although they force them to do cleanups daily, but it's highly inhabitable. A place for 200 prisoners, you see over 500 prisoners there. Ask the state governors to sign to sign prisoners on death row. They should sign their death warrants. They won't.
Is that enough?
Since at least for a time now, since maybe let's just use within 2015 to date, I'm yet to see a governor that will sign death warrants.
Or is that enough for the criminals to escape?
It's not enough, but they are much in that prison space. Where to habit 200 people, you see 500 people, over maybe 100 people are condemned criminals that have to be sentenced to death or be killed.
Like
Another issue is
they are living like
even if the governors should sign their death warrant, who will kill them? Do we have axemen departments in the Nigerian police force, or do we have axemen department in the Nigerian police service, who should call correctional center now? Who will kill them? Will you take them to firing squad? We are not in the military regime. So how will they properly execute them? These are all the things that need to be put in place. A proper response must be put in place for us to get it right, or else this menace will keep reoccurring.
Well, fellas, you see, there is a very vital issue here. You see, a situation where even a condemned criminal, one that is sentenced to death, are there on death row waiting for execution, and no governor would think of signing the death warrant. And they keep becoming there. And of course, deadly criminals will have deadly colleagues outside. And it may be perhaps that urge to go save a friend that will soon die is what would be making some of these criminals outside to arm themselves to go on. So what do you think? Don't you think this idea of that, if you cannot sign someone's death warrant, then the court shouldn't sentence to death? Because issue of death is a very serious matter. And when it is clear that you are going to die, even your colleague or your friend outside will be imagining you are going to die. I think this forms part of why they will always have the mind to go break into the prison just to release their friends. So what do you think about this signing of death warrants?
Well, this death warrant issue has been debated in the public space for a long time, and obviously most of the governors have shied away from signing. I think it's only Oshomole that signed it one or two times. When it was governor, had the courage to do that. And then those were sentenced to death, and they just stayed there, deliberately without knowing what will happen to them. Now, like you said, it's an incentive for their colleagues outside, their criminal colleagues outside, to try to break them out because
Come to the rescue.
yes, so that they can, like I said, they can show their ranks with. But these people who are in that class are hardened criminals who've committed very grievous offenses.
Sure.
You know, murderers, bandits, kidnappers, uh, violence, mass killers, and all those kind of people. Those people are dangerous to society, and then why the laws of Nigeria still permit for them to be sentenced to death? The governors should have the courage to put in place a mechanism to to let them go.
Yes.
Because first of all, if they are there, you want you to spend money on them, to feed them, give them good health, not just take a lot of money. If they are, unless they have a plan to commit them to life sentence, do you understand? Even with life sentence, most of them will not like to spend all their life in that place. So if the person has any slightest chance of escape, if it would take it. Now, if you look at the scenario, some of the prison breaks come from inside. The prisoners riot out of poor conditions or get a chance, they take on the officials, kill and run away. Then some ones are engineered from outside. The one that from outside are the one that kind of concerns me most because of the security implications. It means that some criminal-minded people, some bad guys have planned to attack this place, not to harvest their men who are cassetted so they can come back to the criminal enterprise that all of them. That is where I am very worried because they cannot do anything better than to come back to crime.
Well, let's just quickly take a short break. And of course, we'll be back in a short while.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Well, welcome back. And of course, we are still on the Big Issue in Leadership Podcast. And of course, we are talking of jailbreak and its societal menace. And of course, we're talking of the recent jailbreak in Kabba, Kogi State, where about 240 criminals were said to have escaped. Well, Silas, we were just talking and they see what you say there is even very important. But the issue to the raised was a very vital one. The idea of criminals on death row, apart from the death row, our justice delivery system should seem to be contributing. Because from what we saw here, it says 70 were already convicted, while about 120 something were pre-trial inmates.
100 something, yes.
Yes, were pre-trial inmates. Yeah, about 220 something.
Yes.
Pre-trial inmates. That means this prison congestion caused by delay in criminal justice system is another thing that calls for what? They congest the prison, creating room for. So, what do you think about this?
For some of the prisons that we're talking about, this one is a new one, 2008 or 8. But some of the prisons that we're preaching are colonial prisons built by the colonial masters to hold some blacks who were incarcerated and big. Okay? The government has not really, not this government over the time, have not really taken time to actually upgrade the prison the way they should. Especially now that the crimes we are dealing with are more serious.
And then when you say colonial, that means some of these even these prisons were built with
bricks and
mud.
Yes. So it's easy to breach them. You know, some of them the prisoners themselves, the inmates also cut through them easily. But what we're expecting these days is that because the level of price has increased so tremendously, especially the last maybe 2 decades. We expected the government view of what we are facing to have built the kind of prison that should contain this kind of deadly criminal that we have now, mass murderers, and fortify the prisons with technology and everything so that
glitches.
All right, well, we are back, and sorry for that break in transmission. It was due to some technical hitches that was beyond our control. Well, the big issue of the day is still the jailbreak and the societal menace. So we're saying something, Tunde. We're talking, and of course, Silas has actually spoken. Silas said the correctional centers themselves are archaic, old colonial ones, and they have refused to upgrade them. And apart from that, most of these prisons now are located in residential areas, because when they were located far away from residences, of course, development came. People started building houses close, and you know that whenever places like that are in residential areas, it is quite easy for criminals to operate. What do you think about? Don't you think it's about time, not even just upgrading, you go get new sites for building of these prison correctional centers?
Well, while building of houses close to the prison is not just the problem of why we have the occurrence of prison break, it's also a problem.
It is now, because you know that somebody said that some of the prisons in some states, you know, the sheer fences, the sheer fence
You don't need to go to some
with
states.
another
Nearby Suleja, if you visit there, look at the prison, look at houses very close. They don't. You cannot even separate just the next houses, the residential house. Then you see. So there is need for a total reform of the Nigerian prisons, which is correctional service. They need to totally overhaul this if you actually mean to stop this menace. You understand? The information gathering is very poor, I can say.
Yes, intelligence. Because the criminals will just come like that, attack a prison with nobody giving intelligence.
No pure information.
Yes.
You cannot even raise an alarm. Okay, yes, we can defend this. And what about the staffing? There is need for them to employ men of good credentials, men who have high credentials, not just secondarian. You need any recruitment. You say you need more of SSC holders. You need people who are highly intelligent, people who can use their intelligence to man these prisons better. You need to employ and recruit them, not just being understaffed and you're okay with it, waiting for believing that okay, nothing will happen. Yes, things are happening. What you need to do now is create good reforms, ensure that there are adequate staffing. You understand? As a government, we work on the rise of provision of arms and weapons in the society.
Well, and Tunde,
All
before you
this-
continue, let's look at something. Me, I'm still hammering on that area of connivance. Because these prison wardens, if you see what they do, recently a video went viral, not quite long, of a lady, a prison warden, making love to a prisoner. If they do this, then it's possible that they can connive with the prisoners inside, make arrangement for
Yes,
their criminals outside.
While,
That is
while,
another thing to look at.
while the prison officers are not saints, you understand, owing to the fact that their salaries are poor, they are one of the people receiving stipends in yes, their salary is poor, and these are people that go to work daily. If your salary is 60,000 naira, once you remove 500 naira for transportation, it drops to 59,500. No any other source of income for them. So you need to increase your immigration, because no matter how, any compromise will in turn affect you in a large scale. If a prisoner, for instance, give you 3,500 naira, give a prison officer 3,000 naira to buy him a small Nokia phone, with also a dash of maybe 5,000 naira, and at the end you give him a SIM, he use that phone to communicate others. While the prison wardens, the officers are happy that yes, I'm getting 5,000 naira in a large scale what's this situation we find ourselves.
Yes, and of course, apart from that, the ease with which these criminals break into the prison raises a lot of questions about the capacity and competence of officers of this correctional center. Silas, are you sure these prison wardens are actually trained?
Yeah, you know, securing a prison is not just about prison wardens.
Yeah.
If you look at the report, you see that some policemen, a soldier, a policeman, policeman, so how many of them were killed. So it's not just prison wardens that. What prison wardens do are mostly inside management of the what? The inmates. You know, the securing the outside of it, the external security of many times the police, soldiers, depending on the kind of caliber of people that are kept in place. Okay, so you may find a problem of understaffing. They don't have enough policemen to secure prison. If you have only 4 policemen, manage a prison like that, and a gang of 50, and these days, you know, it's horrifying to learn that when they attack, they come in 50-100.
With sophisticated reports.
And yes, it's kind of fun that even those policemen may not have. So in that kind of case, most of the policemen will just find a way. If they can survive it, they just withdraw. So they can live to fight another day. This will just have their way. So fighting them will be like committing suicide. Those guys who got killed in the gunfire, maybe if they had an option, they would have withdrawn or tried to protect themselves. But what I'm saying, they feel that that place will have on the list, you know, and that's why they're around them like that. So there's a need to get enough people to man those prisons, and especially they need to, like you said, reform the prisons, take them away from areas of the population, and then create buffer zones around them so that it will take time before, you know, outsiders can breach the prison, and even for prisons inside to breach and come outside. Because if you have a buffer zone, before they can even run far, the security agents are alerted to go and pick them up.
Yes. Have you seen a correctional center where you have CCTV? I doubt they will have one.
So well, let's look at let's look at the last issue here because time is no more on our side. You see that whenever this jailbreak occurs, nobody tends to account for those that escaped and were not recaptured. These criminals are threats, dangers to the society. Like the one which one? The one in Imo. You know, till now they have not come out to tell us whether they've been able to recapture most of those ones. They say
no, 1,800 or so, or 900 were broken out of that prison. And when we spoke to, when I listened to the PRO of the prison service, he said that like 108 something or so have been recaptured. So that means 10% of those prisoners are recaptured. The remaining 90% are in the open space, doing what they know how to do best.
What about the Edo escapee prisoner that immediately returned home and killed the suspect, which they accused, which is the one that makes sure
the danger.
That is the danger of
this has it to the side.
Because within 24 hours,
you see criminal coming back to reintegrate and stay with us as criminal. It is very bad.
So if you're one of the witnesses against him, you're at risk. So I think that the government need to look at it critically, because it will force people to stop cooperating with security agencies in the persecution of hardened criminals. Because if they know that this people can come out tomorrow and come for them, they'd rather keep quiet. Of course, that's the danger of it.
Well, of course, that is the much we can take for today's edition of The Big Issue. And of course, thank you, viewer, for your patience, for being there with us. And of course, I'd like to thank our in-house analysts, Silas and Tunde.
Thank you very much.
And of course, join us same time tomorrow for another edition of The Big Issue. Have a very wonderful evening.